June 18, 1966, Le Mans, France. Engines roared through the French countryside as hundreds of thousands of spectators gathered to witness the legendary 24 hours of Le Mans. The race, renowned for its grueling endurance and breakneck speeds, was a spectacle of both skill and danger. Among the brave drivers pushing the limits that day was William J. Bill Simpson, a rising star in the motorsport world. But as the sun began its descent, a moment of sheer terror unfolded. Simpson's car, a blur of motion on the treacherous circuit, suddenly veered out of control. In an instant, the vehicle flipped violently, hurtling through the air. What happened next would leave the crowd in stunned silence. Simpson was ejected from his car, plunging from an enormous height, seemingly doomed. Miraculously, he survived. But that day would mark more than just a close call. It would redefine the course of his life and change motorsport safety forever. This is the incredible story of Bill Simpson, the man who fell from the sky and landed on the path to revolutionizing racing safety. Before revolutionizing motorsport safety, Bill Simpson was a fierce competitor on the track. Born in 1940 in California, Simpson's love for speed ignited at a young age. By the 1960s, he was competing in open-wheel and stock car events, earning a reputation for his fearless driving and technical mind. But for Simpson, racing was more than just crossing the finish line. It was about pushing the limit. He wasn't satisfied with being a driver. He wanted to understand every aspect of the sport, risks and all. Having witnessed countless crashes, some fatal, Simpson was no stranger to racing's dangers. Yet, it wasn't until his life-altering crash at Le Mans that he realized how inadequate safety measures were. Simpson's racing approach was methodical, blending mechanical knowledge with his on-track experience. But little did he know, his biggest legacy would come not from his driving, but from the aftermath of his most harrowing crash. The 1966 24 Hours of Le Mans was shaping up to be one of the most competitive and intense endurance races in history. Teams like Ford and Ferrari were locked in a fierce battle for supremacy, pushing their machines to the very edge. For drivers like Bill Simpson, the race demanded not just skill, but nerves of steel. Simpson, driving for the Shelby American team, was navigating the high-speed Mulsanne Strait when disaster struck. His car lost control. Whether it was due to a mechanical failure or the brutal pace of the race is still debated. The vehicle flipped violently, a terrifying sight for spectators watching from the grandstands. The sheer force of the crash ejected Simpson from the car, sending him flying through the air from a horrifying height. For a split second, it seemed impossible that anyone could survive such a catastrophic accident. Onlookers held their breath, expecting the worst. Simpson hit the ground with a sickening impact, but against all odds, he was alive. Emergency crews rushed to his aid, finding him battered and bruised, but miraculously conscious. Simpson's injuries were severe, but not life-threatening. He suffered broken bones and deep bruises, but what struck him most wasn't the physical pain. It was the realization of just how vulnerable drivers were in the face of such accidents. The crash wasn't just a wake-up call, it was a turning point. Simpson knew racing safety had to change, and he was going to be the one to make it happen. As Bill Simpson lay in a hospital bed recovering from his injuries, the reality of his near-death experience began to sink in. He'd always known racing was dangerous, but surviving such a horrific crash without any serious protection made him realize just how dire the situation was for drivers. In the 1960s, race car drivers relied on minimal safety gear, basic helmets, cotton racing suits, and rudimentary seatbelts. Fire, high-speed collisions, and ejections were all too common, and drivers often had little more than luck on their side. Simpson knew the Le Mans crash had shown him the deadly flaws in sports safety protocols. In that hospital bed, he made a vow to never let another driver face the same risk he had. With his recovery underway, Simpson began researching materials and designs that could withstand the extreme conditions of professional racing. He focused on three key areas: fire protection, impact resistance, and driver restraint systems. These would become the foundation of his lifelong mission to change the face of racing safety. Once back on his feet, Simpson wasted no time in diving headfirst into developing groundbreaking safety solutions. Drawing inspiration from aerospace technology, he began experimenting with fire-resistant materials and crash-resistant helmets. One of his first breakthroughs came with Nomex, a fireproof fabric initially used in NASA's space programs. Recognizing its potential to protect drivers from the deadly fires that often followed crashes, Simpson introduced the first ever fire-resistant racing suit, a game-changer in the motorsport industry. Initially, the concept was met with skepticism. Many drivers were resistant to change, reluctant to swap their traditional cotton suits for an unfamiliar material. To prove its effectiveness, Simpson took an extreme approach. He set himself on fire while wearing the suit, standing calmly as the flames licked at the Nomex fabric without burning through. The demonstration made headlines and convinced many skeptics of the suit's life-saving potential. Simpson didn't stop there. He expanded his focus to designing better helmets, harnesses, and gloves, ensuring drivers had full body protection in the event of high-speed impacts. His company, Simpson Performance Products, quickly gained traction and became the go-to brand for professional racing safety equipment. By the 1970s, nearly every major racing organization, including NASCAR, IndyCar, and Formula One, had adopted Simpson's safety gear as standard equipment. His contributions saved countless lives and forever changed the way the sport approached driver safety. Despite his early successes, Simpson never stopped pushing for better protection. He continued to push boundaries, working with engineers and scientists to develop more advanced racing helmets that could absorb higher impact and prevent head trauma, a leading cause of fatalities in motorsport. Simpson also worked on improving seatbelt systems, introducing the 5-point harness, which provided better restraint during crashes and minimized the risk of drivers being ejected from the vehicle. His relentless efforts earned him a reputation as a no-nonsense innovator who wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo. He believed that no risk was too great when it came to improving driver safety. But with progress came resistance. Some racing organizations were slow to adopt new safety measures, worried about costs and potential impacts on competition. Simpson faced legal battles, industry skepticism, and financial challenges, but his unwavering commitment never faltered. In 2001, his dedication to safety faced its greatest test when legendary NASCAR driver Dale Earnhardt tragically lost his life in a crash at the Daytona 500. Investigations revealed that a head injury was the cause of death, and Simpson's safety equipment came under scrutiny. Though it was later determined that Earnhardt's death resulted from forces beyond the helmet's capabilities, the tragedy further highlighted the need for continuous improvement in racing safety. Through it all, Simpson remained focused on his mission to ensure no driver faced the same fate he narrowly escaped at Le Mans. Bill Simpson's terrifying crash at the 1966 Le Mans race could have ended his life. Instead, it set him on a path that revolutionized racing safety forever. From near tragedy to triumph, his legacy lives on in the countless drivers who owe their lives to his innovations. Today, every racing suit, helmet, and harness bears the mark of Simpson's relentless pursuit of safety. His story is a testament to resilience, innovation, and the unwavering commitment to making motorsports safer for generations to come. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more incredible stories of survival and tragedy.